That's what he says. He says you're going to leave it, you're going to leave your wealth to who? To others. Look at verse 11. Look at verse 11. Their inner thought is that their house will last forever. All that work you put into it, it's not going to stand forever. The house I live in had some cracks in the sheetrock. And my wife, those things are just driving her crazy. And we got a painter, and I made him, I said, look, you have to guarantee, because he was going to paint the walls. I said, I don't want you to paint these walls with these cracks in the wall. And he said, Crenshaw, I can take them out. I know what to do, and I know how to put, the stuff in there and tape over it and texture over it and all of that, and then paint it, and you'll never know the cracks were there. And bless his heart, right after he finished, it was beautiful. I should have sold the house right then. Because you could not see a crack in the sheetrock anywhere. But you know what? Just before I left, really, just the other Saturday night, we had some visitors over, and they were admiring this and admiring that, and I'm beaming, so yeah, I'm proud of where I live, and look at that same crack that was in that wall. These houses that we spend so much of our time and so much of our money dealing with. Well, the psalmist says, your inner thought, you don't say it. That's why you're not saying amen. You don't want anybody to know that's what you're saying. He says your inner thought is that their houses will last forever, their dwelling place to all generations. I'm going to leave this house to my children. It's real interesting that your children don't think as much of it as you do. Big Mama and them was so glad to get 40 acres on the mule. I know y'all don't remember that. You live in New York, and none of y'all from the country. 40 acres and a mule. And you know what? When that generation got grown, they sold it. They sold the 40 acres and the mule. And in fact, there was a statistic, an alarming statistic the other day, that said people of color selling the farmland, at one time a lot of the farmland belonged to us. And they were talking about if families of color continue to sell the farmland at the same rate that they have been selling it, by 2020, we will be a landless ethnic group. Well, maybe that didn't interest anybody. He's saying the inner thought is that their houses will last forever, their dwelling places to all generations. Look at that. We love the land so much, it says they call their lands after their own names. Come on, somebody. You name your estate. Ponderosa. This belongs to the copyright. We have that kind of mentality. Nevertheless, man, though in honor, does not remain. Look at verse 13. This is the way of those who are foolish. And of their posterity, who prove their sayings like sheep, they are led in the grave. Even your children are going to die. Right? Look at verse 16. So do not be afraid, when one becomes rich. That's one of our problems. If you get more than I get, I'm thinking you're going to get ahead of me. I don't want you. Amen, somebody. I don't want to see. You know what? When you understand generosity, if you go with us through this study, okay, if you stay with me, you'll be glad when she gets rich. Amen. Wouldn't you like to have an existence where you're not grateful-hearted? You're not, amen, somebody. That if she wins the lottery,
watch out now. Woo, watch out. Well,
just make sure that she comes see me. All right? But be glad for her. You know, instead she wins the lottery and you got your mouth poked out. You know, I could have won the lottery. I'm the one who drove up to the store where she got your ticket and stuff. Come on, somebody. He says here, do not be afraid when one becomes rich, when the glory of his house is increased. You know why? Verse 17, you know why you don't have to worry about it? But when she died, I know it doesn't say she, but since we have you in the illustration, but when she dies, she ain't going to carry nothing away. Right? His glory shall not descend after him. Your glory that you had on the top side of the earth is not going to descend when you go down in the earth. Though while he lives, he blesses himself. You know, I believe Jesus read this. Because go back to Luke. Go back to Luke and let you go in a few minutes. Go back to Luke. So when this man says, Master or teacher, you tell my brother to share the inheritance with me. Jesus said, man, let me show you a better system. Let me show you a better system. You're going to fool around and lose something more important than the money. Amen. Because what you're going to lose is your brother. There is something worse than losing the inheritance. You know what's worse? Losing your brother. You know what's worse? Messing up the relationship. You know what's worse? Losing friendship. You know what's worse? Breaking up the marriage. You know what's worse? Come on, somebody. You know, that's what's worse. Now, here's the way he does it. He said, let me show you how this works. He gives them the proverb. Y'all follow this? You got the context? Watch this proverb. Verse 15. Take heed and beware of what? Covetousness. For one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things he possesses. Now, if you missed that, you missed the whole lesson. Beware of covetousness. We want things just because we want them. And you think it's going to fill that void in your life. The truth is, it does not fill the void. Because you know what happens? You wanted a car, and when you got the car, you wanted another car. You wanted a television, and when you got that television, you wanted another television. Y'all don't like that one? You wanted those shoes, but when you got those shoes, you wanted another pair of shoes. You got the suit, but you want another suit. Because this suit don't go with the shoes that you just got. But then when you got those shoes, you had this suit in mind, but now you like these shoes. So y'all see what I'm talking about. Instead of filling the void, it creates the void.
That's right.
And Jesus knows that. There's something something better. Y'all got time for the rest of this? So here's what he says. He says, a man's life. Remember this. There are two proverbs here. We got to the first one. I'm going to give you the second one here in just a minute. Okay, on this side, you got proverb number 1. Okay? Proverb number 1 is, beware of covetousness. Beware of covetousness. Everybody over here say it. Beware of covetousness. You know what covetousness is? Sometimes you ought to do a lesson on covetousness. It has to do with greed. We want everything. And we want it now. Old folks used to say, well, we got to save up for it.